Hi, I'm Maya Van Rossum, the Delaware Riverkeeper. In August of 2012, Governor Corbett came to the Delaware River to do some kayaking. On that day, I negotiated with him that we would have a meeting to talk about the issue of shale gas development across the Commonwealth. That meeting actually took place yesterday, January 8th, in Harrisburg. Many people want to know, what did you say to the governor during that meeting? So I thought, to the best of my ability, I would take you into that meeting with us to let you judge for yourself what we said to the governor. Now, I was joined at the meeting by Tracy Carluccio, the Deputy Director of the Delaware Riverkeeper Network, and Joe Levine with Damascus Citizens for Sustainability. The governor attended with 4 members of his staff. We all entered the room, we shook hands and introduced ourselves, and then sat at the table, and the meeting began. Governor Corbett, as you know, there are many people across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that are being impacted and harmed by shale gas development. There are many people across Pennsylvania that are anticipating the harms to come. These people value the opportunity to speak with you, their governor, directly about these issues. And so we thought that we would dedicate our time during this meeting to those people and those voices, and give them the opportunity to speak to you directly in their own words about what is happening in their communities as a result of drilling, fracking, pipelines, compressors, and to share with you their thoughts about what the future of Pennsylvania and energy development should really look like. And with that, we shared with the governor a montage of videos put together as the result of many, many messages sent to the Delaware Riverkeeper Network by people across the Commonwealth who had something to say to Governor Corbett.
I don't think it can be done safely.
If it could be, it'd be great.
Our well is crying out to us to help it. You know, it's like Earth is just vomiting in our yard.
I'm an 8-year cancer survivor, and the emissions that come out of that are carcinogens, and I don't want to get cancer again of any kind.
My name is Samantha Pearson. I live in Lewisburg. I have lived here for several years, 10 years at this point, and I'm raising my family here. I understand that a lot of people think that Lewisburg isn't really where fracking is happening, but I see all around me the effects of turning the state into a sacrifice zone. Basically, the places I've learned to love in the time I've been here that I want to share with my children: Crystal Lake, the Haystacks, the Loyalsock Trail, the Northern Tier. These are places that I like to take my children, and I'm seeing them destroyed before my eyes. There are people who live where I live who don't even know these things exist, much less that they're threatened. It's really, really important that we be stewards of these places for everyone who doesn't even know they're there. We can't afford to throw them away because they're considered sort of places where few people live, places that few people see. We've already thrown away other parts of the planet, and now we're throwing away our own country, our own state. It's horrifying to me. I want to see a change in this. I don't want this sort of short-term investment in basically a disastrous bridge fuel. I want to see change, I want to see vision for the future, and I want to see clean, true, environmentally safe energy in our state. It exists. It's called solar. It's called wind. Forget fracking.
Act 13 has a provision there which is called the gag rule. And what it basically does is it says that certain proprietary chemicals can only be disclosed to you with written permission as a physician, And even then, that information can no longer be further disclosed to anybody else. Now, the Secretary of Health, interestingly enough, in Pennsylvania, stated to the Medical Society that that really doesn't really apply, and that you can, in fact, talk to other specialists and other public health professionals about this proprietary chemical. Subsequently, you fired the Secretary of Health. And I think that it really sends a bad message, frankly, to the citizens of Pennsylvania and to physicians, telling them that you can, supposedly disclose and tell anybody about these proprietary chemicals if it's necessary to take care of your patients. And yet, we do not have any backing, if you will, from your health department, and we don't have any assurances in any legal lawsuit that says that physicians are protected. So I personally think that physicians tread on with great trepidation about this issue around disclosure, and I think it's something that you should remove and allow us to practice medicine like we would take care of any patient and fully disclose the name of these proprietary chemicals.
Hi, my name is Jane Tolomello. I'm a resident of Dallas Township, Pennsylvania. What fracking means to me is not so much the fracking part of the drilling, but my effect has been through the pipelines. I feel nothing but betrayal from my politicians that I put into office. I feel nothing but, there's just no words. When you become invaded by something that you can't stop, the pipeline, one project is 500 feet from my home, another metering station is 800 feet from my home, and the tie-ins to 2 pipelines to the main Transco is within another 800 feet of my home, and that's all 1,200 feet from a school campus housing over 3,000 children that no one had any consideration to. Those pipelines could have been routed a different way, but your gas company didn't want to spend the money to go and save the lives of 3,000 children that now you, the state of Pennsylvania, and the gas company would be responsible. That's more than 9/11. That's more than the people that were killed in 9/11. That's more children and more people than were killed. And how can you do that? How can you come into people's homes and make their homes feel unsafe? That school district is right down the road from me, but those people get to go home, and I don't get to go home. I get to go home to my house where I'm in danger with my daughter and my husband and my family 24/7. And for that, I'm really upset with, I'm just devastated that my country can do this to me, a country that claims to be for the people. I have no more words. I'm just disgusted, and that's all I have to say.
Yes, hello, Governor Corbett. My name is Kevin Heatley. I'm a resident of Hughesville, Pennsylvania, in Lycoming County, and I have witnessed the devastation that's occurred in north central Pennsylvania as a result of the unconventional natural gas industry. I'm also a professional restoration ecologist, so I understand the science behind what's occurring. And I'm here to tell you today that this is an unacceptable development in our state. Our state is being pointed to by the rest of the world as an example of what not to do. And I know this for a fact because I'm in constant contact with people from other states and other countries who have come to Pennsylvania to see what is occurring. And I can state unequivocally that there are people right now, your best and your brightest, your future, your sustainability of this state, the educated people are the ones that are moving away, looking for other places to live. You are going to create a society, a long-term economic depression for your state in the pursuit of short-term economic gain. This is a finite fuel. This is not going to sustain our communities past a few decades, and then you're going to have to deal with the repercussions of a society that does not have economic diversity and does not have the educational background to do what needs to be done to survive in the 21st century economy. So I urge you to look at what you're doing, look at the pursuit of what you're trying to do, and think in the long term. Thank you very much.
My name is Wendy Lynn Lee. I'm a professor at Bloomsburg University, and I live in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. The reason that I'm here is because I've been involved in the anti-fracking movement for about the last year and a half. And what I see is the industrialization of my state. What I see is the contamination of my water the corruption of my government, and the destruction of my children's future. I'm here because I want to live in a democracy, because I thought I lived in America. But what I see is the corporatization of my government and the complete destruction of my land, of my water, of my children's health. And so I would like to see fracking banned. It must be banned. It cannot be regulated. You cannot clean the water once it's contaminated with these kinds of chemicals, these kinds of pollutants. The world's water is only 3% of it fresh. Once that's gone, are we going to be fueling the war over that water with the natural gas that we use to destroy it? I find that insanity, and I want it to end. I want to live in America.
Governor Corbett, my name is Daishin Eric McCabe. I'm a Zen Buddhist priest, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about Zen Buddhism. We have something what's called three poisons: greed, anger, and delusion. And I just wanted to say something about the first one, called greed. Greed can be a poison because it can destroy both our own self and others if we act on it in ways that are unhealthy. It can also be turned around into a medicine and benefit many, many people if it's directed in a positive direction. We all have the energy of greed in us, and it's not whether it's bad or not bad, but how we direct that energy. And I think that the gas industry is highly motivated by this energy, as are many, many people in different fields. But I think the direction that it's moving in presently is in a destructive way, because it's a win-lose situation. Many people are winning, and many more people are losing, not only now, but in generations to come. I think we need to look at how we can direct that energy so that we move it towards win-win situations for not only people in the industry, but people in all kinds of businesses, as well as how we can look to benefit future generations. Thank you very much.
Hi, Governor. I moved here 10 years ago. Came to Pennsylvania because it was a desirable place to live, especially for a retired person. And one of the things that worries me, I think other people like me are not going to be moving here, and some of the people that are here are going to be moving away. I'm a registered Republican and a U.S. Marine Corps veteran or reservist. My concern is that what's going on is really our Agent Orange. The impact on people and their health is very similar to that of Agent Orange. And it took us a couple decades before we were willing to admit that, and that was a tremendous cost. So my concern is with the fracking and the Marcellus shale gas drilling is what it's not only doing to us, but future generations. I know it's going to take some courage, and I think you would do this generation and future generations a great service if you demonstrated some real courage and be able to stand up to this industry. Thank you.
Governor Corbett, my name is Pune Saberi, and I'm a member of the Philadelphia chapter of Physicians for Social Responsibility. I am a doctor, teacher, public health professional, and researcher. In the United States in this era, the bar is quite high on enforcing the ethics of subject protection in any type of research. There are stringent trainings and educational programs that one must complete. Full disclosure of the aims and informed consent about the process is mandatory. The administration of our state promotes a deadly double standard. Every step associated with high-volume operations of natural gas extraction, processing, and transmission exposes the residents of Pennsylvania to significant health risks. The operators of these activities have very little information on how they are exposing the residents and exercise even less control in preventing the known exposures. Therefore, the natural gas industry has set up a large-scale public experimentation and uses Pennsylvanians as guinea pigs. This is an experiment where the risks of participation are very high, and people can die. I will end my minute with this question for you, Mr. Corbett. As a sponsor of this grand human experimentation, how do you plan to fulfill your ethical responsibilities in protecting the Pennsylvanians who have elected you as their governor?
My name is Robbie Cross. I live in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I manage a manufacturing firm that employs about 35 people. And I've been opposed to the drilling, having watched it now for about 4 years in our area. It seems to me that the hills are being ravaged by the drilling. The water is being polluted by the drilling. The air coming from compressor stations is turning the air in the entire area worse than it is. We have air inversions in the Williamsport area, and it'll only get worse than it is even now. So that what I'm asking you, Governor, is to consider strongly a moratorium on any more permitting of wells until we can better understand what's happening and better regulate the process, so for the betterment of the health and the safety of the people living in our area. Please give that your every consideration. Thank you.
Probably 2 or 3 weeks, my garage door does rattle from the vibration of the plant.
I didn't move into the country to be looking at an industrial revolution right up the road from me. This is not supposed to be an industrial place. I could not move into an industrial zone as a residential person, so why should an industrial place be able to move into where people live?
My name is Roscoe McCloskey from Montoursville, Pennsylvania. I'm kind of in the middle of the hydro-fracking going on in the Marcellus Shale. I've owned some property in the area. I have lots of friends and family in the area, and it's nothing but a negative impact. The incredible amount of truck traffic, the odor, the smells, the flaring of the wells, the people that have come in and have taken over areas that have traditionally been quiet and respectful. The potential, the corruption that's going on in the state forests, the all-out sale of what is supposed to be a generational thing where we can give this to our kids and our grandkids. The state forests are just going away. You're destroying it. The ecology of the state forest is being destroyed. I see it every day. I walk in these woods. This is where I spend my time. Hours and hours and miles on the trails in Lycoming County and the surrounding counties, and I just feel like you've abandoned us. In fact, not abandoned us, you've specifically and intentionally destroyed what should be ours in the state of Pennsylvania through greed or corruption. I don't know what your motivation is. You may have been altruistic to begin with. You may think it's a good idea. It's never a good idea. Fossil fuels are not a good idea. They are a finite fuel. We have so many other opportunities and options, and you've just thrown that away. You've invested in something that's going to kill our planet, and it's just unacceptable.
Governor Corbett, I'm here today to ask you to please stop drilling in the state of Pennsylvania. I believe that we should be putting our money towards more sensible things, such as green energy. As you can see behind me is my house, which has solar panels on it. We use geothermal heating also. My house practically sustains itself with zero harm to the environment. I believe that green energy will create more jobs than drilling would and will better protect our environment and create safe drinking water, unlike drilling would. The fact is, Governor Corbett, in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, probably less, you and your fellow politicians will be out of office or dead. You're not just deciding the future anymore, Governor Corbett, you're deciding my future.
My name's Dory Hippoff. I'm from Dallas, Pennsylvania, Luzerne County. I moved here 15 years ago from Massachusetts to live out in the country. I didn't move out here to live with industrialization going up all around me. Although we don't have drilling in Luzerne County, we do have compressor stations, dehydration stations, metering stations, pipelines, and who knows what else is coming in the future. Your job is to protect the people of Pennsylvania, not the gas companies. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lana Goulden. I live in Northumberland, Pennsylvania. Governor Corbett, I'd like to know why we're doing this dangerous fracking with all these toxic, carcinogenic chemicals when we have energy that is free and safe. We have solar and wind that would produce many jobs and would get us into the 21st century. It would make us competitive with other countries that are already using this kind of energy. It would be saving money, creating jobs, and would be protecting the health and the environment, and just making things so much better for Pennsylvanians and the world.
Hi, Governor. My name is Gökhan. I've been living in Pennsylvania for the last 10 years. I'm from Turkey originally. I just became a citizen probably 4 years ago. And I just want to say about the natural gas and then fracking in Pennsylvania. It's really kind of bothered me. Where I'm from in Turkey, I don't think something like that would be acceptable because people only care about the money and power. But in this country, I think that it's better things that people put in perspective, like their health, life, and their future generation. And I'm hoping you will put everything in consideration before you make your decision on this. Thank you very much.
Hi, Governor Corbett. I'm Rebecca Roeder. I live in Brooklyn Township, Susquehanna County, in an active Cabot producing gas field. I have the Williams Central Station less than a mile from my home, which is the slated beginning of the Constitution Pipeline. I live in a Class 1 area, which according to FERC means that my life is collateral damage in case of a pipeline explosion. Class 1 pipelines do not have any routine inspection, or there's also no safety plan for people living in Class 1 areas. That's most of my county.
Governor Corbett, my name is Dr. Walter Tsu. I'm a public health physician. I served as formerly the health commissioner for the city of Philadelphia and as past president of the American Public Health Association. I'm very concerned about fracking as a public health professional because I believe it's inherently dangerous. The problem actually is that when you put 5 million gallons of toxic chemicals into the ground and you believe that it's going to stay there forever, I think you're just mistaken. And the problem with the type of chemicals that are being used is that if any of them potentially leak out and contaminate groundwater or leak into river streams, it will render that water undrinkable for generations. So it's kind of like a deal with Faust, if you will. It's a deal where you have the short-term gain where you believe you can actually get some jobs out of this, and then for the future generations you potentially risk contaminating their water supply so that it's undrinkable forever. And I think that's not a risk worth taking as a public health professional.
My name is Dean Marshall. I live in Columbia County, Pennsylvania. I leased a home in Benton about 3.5 years ago, and immediately after that a gas well was started, the Martin well, on property less than half a mile from my home on the other side of Fishing Creek. I joined the Fishing Creek Watershed Association and started doing water testing for a background data program that they were working on. And I've done a lot of research, been involved in a lot of activities surrounding this gas drilling, compressor station hearings, that type of thing. All I can see is that this industry could do it right, but they won't. There are not enough regulators, there's not enough inspection, and there's not enough budget to look after all the wells that are being drilled, all the pipelines that are being placed. And if this industry is allowed to just run rampant over the hills of Pennsylvania, they're going to destroy our landscape, our tourist industry, hunting, fishing, camping, any kind of outdoor recreational activities, and the income that comes from that. And they're going to leave a legacy of poisoned streams, toxic air, toxic waste sites for our children and grandchildren. I'm asking you, Governor Corbett, to ban drilling until we have the proof that it can be done safely and it can be regulated. Thank you.
Governor Corbett, hello, this is Ben Ogiesican. I'm an engineer, father of 3 children, and I'm very worried about the fracking that's going on. And I think we should invest our energies in renewable energy, something that can last for hundreds of years, not a technology that buys us something in the next 10 years just to get cheap energy and then pay the consequences later with additional health care, with society that is burdened with sickness. So please reconsider the fracking, and let's invest our efforts in something that is healthy.
My name is Diane Dreyer from Dallas, Pennsylvania. Governor Corbett, did you know that the sun beams more energy to the Earth's surface in 1 hour than the entire population of the world uses in 1 year? I would urge you to use all the powers of your office to make Pennsylvania the solar energy capital of the world, and to give citizens of Pennsylvania tax breaks for using solar energy. Thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Corbett, my name's Dave Leidecker, and I live in central Pennsylvania. My family's lived there since the 1700s. It was a beautiful area. Now it's an industrial zone. One of my biggest concerns, other than the health issues, the environmental issues, and so on, is civil liberties. What you have orchestrated is the mere fact that corporate America, in combination with EPA and you, have taken civil rights away from the citizens. They have absolutely no recourse on how to battle the devastation that you and your cronies have levied on the citizens. You should be looking at how this impacts the life and the health of individuals. Up to this point, you have had no concern, and especially in combination with the Halliburton loophole and Act 13 or Act 15, whatever it was, that took away the right of the township to be able to control how the people who pay the taxes there are able to live their life. Thank you.
Governor, I'm a healthcare worker, live outside the Philadelphia area, and as a healthcare worker, I'm very concerned about possible problems that fracking fluid and air pollution around the pools will have on my life and all of my patients' lives. I know it's important to have jobs. I know it's important for the economy, for all of it in terms of the job world, but how about the workers and the people that all of this money is supposed to help? If all we are is sick and we're impacting the healthcare industry, I don't understand why we have more regulations on it or get rid of it altogether. So please consider the individual lives over and above the corporate lives and the jobs in math.
Governor Corbett, my name is Carol Culver, and I live at Harvey's Lake, Pennsylvania. I became against, I should say, the gas drilling a little over 3 years ago when an exploratory well was being done about a mile from my home. I have a private well, and I, of course, was worried about my water, so I spent $1,000 and got a Tier 3 test. Thank God we were also heavily into coal where I live, and the coal burned out the gas. So we don't have to worry about the wells now. But what we do worry about is all of the infrastructure. The Transco pipeline is only about 1.5 miles from my house. Therefore, everything else is coming in strong. I don't understand how you can sleep at night when you were elected by the people to protect the people, and what I see is you protecting the gas industry. There are people like me who go to sleep at night full of fear, and this is all the time. It racks your brain. I just wish you'd think about the people a little more. Thank you.
Morning, Governor Corbett. My name is Patricia Rock. I live in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. I did not originally live in Pennsylvania. I was born in Iowa. I lived in New York City for 20 years. I came to Selinsgrove to retire. That didn't quite work out that way, but I am semi-retired. I came to Pennsylvania because I thought it was a paradise. My family came a few years ago to a family reunion, and that's what they said. This is a paradise. The mountains, the rivers, the streams, the beautiful birds. What has happened, Governor, is we have had a threat to that paradise that could destroy the whole state. We have formed an organization, the Rivertown Coalition for Clean Air and Clean Water. That is the right of every citizen in the whole world. But in Pennsylvania, our clean air and our clean water are imperiled by the gas drilling industry. We know from science that there are tremendous, tremendous dangers to health from this drilling. Children with asthma, children with learning disabilities. We know that there are threats to the environment such as earthquakes. We know that the quality of the water is imperiled. The quality of the air is imperiled. Governor, you can do something about this. You can do something about this. When people say this causes jobs, of course I care about jobs. Of course I care about jobs. Everybody does. But at what price? And as a matter of fact, how many jobs are there? Governor, I am pleading with you to use the power that you have in your hands to put a stop to this drilling in Pennsylvania. It is causing this paradise to become a wasteland. Thank you.
My name is the Reverend Leah Shade. I'm the pastor of United in Christ Lutheran Church in West Milton, and I live in Milton. Governor Corbett, you won't be remembered for the short-term temporary jobs created by the gas rush. You will be remembered for selling out our state to an industry that is making war on us. People are hurting, they are suffering, and our state is being compromised by this industry. And we are asking you to stop. We're asking you, I'm asking you, as your sister in Christ, to have a change of heart and mind, to protect our air, our water, our public health, and our wild places. We don't want these places turned into toxic, industrialized zones. We want to be able to live here in peace without worrying about what's going to happen to our children in the future. I'm pleading with you to listen to God's command to care for creation and to care for the people that you have been charged with protecting. Send away the gas industry. Do the right thing.
Governor Corbett, my name is Craig Stevens. I live in Silver Lake Township, Pennsylvania, Susquehanna County. I'm a proud sixth generation Pennsylvanian and a fifth generation New Yorker. Governor Corbett, you tell us the water is fine in our area. You will not come and drink it. We don't understand. Why are multiple of my neighbors living off of water buffaloes for their water with delivered water? Why is the industry delivering water to them if there's no problems? Why have you refused to come and see us? My children, my 4 children will be the 7th generation owners of my property. I will not trade their safety and their future health for short-term energy requirements. Our interest is in the future of Pennsylvania. This industry is just about today. We are not willing to commit generational suicide. So Governor Corbett, as Sir Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. I voted for you. I'm a constitutional conservative. I expect you to be a good man and do what's right, or resign your position. Take care of the people of the state of Pennsylvania. And as Martin Luther King says, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And the silence coming from Harrisburg and your office is deafening. I look forward to meeting you soon, and so you can come and see what's happening to us in northeastern Pennsylvania. Thank you very much.
Corbett, I'm from Pike County. I grew up in the Milford-Dingmans Ferry area. I am currently very concerned about the opening up of the Delaware River Basin for hydraulic fracturing, and particularly now what we're dealing with the Tennessee pipeline. I'm sure you're familiar with their choice to take a 7-mile detour around their existing right-of-way through a residential community. And I think that just goes to show the disrespect that the industry has for the people of Pennsylvania who are under your, we're supposed to be represented by you and our legislators. Their decision also to lease, Chesapeake leased Promised Land State Park, a hunting camp in the middle, and I know as a child, you vacationed there. And for an industry to look at a place like Promised Land or the Delaware State Forest for the pipeline and to lease areas in Lackawaxen Township, I think just goes to show that they don't look at our cultural and our rural heritage the same way that rural Pennsylvanians do for our tourism, recreation, and real estate industries that are the economic engines of our region. The industry doesn't see it the same way, and I think that if we ruin the rural aesthetic and scenic character of our region by allowing these industrial operations to clear their way through, we're giving up our economic engines that will be there forever, just like your predecessor, Gifford Pinchot, used to say that we need to conserve the resources for further future generations. And my mother is a realtor. She recently passed away, fed my family with by selling homes in the area where the rural area and the beauty of it was our mainstay and put food on our table growing up. My dad's a landscaper and Bethel Woods facility, the concert area, and that overlooks Wayne County, which is leased up, and I'd like to see you protect those resources for us, and that goes for the rest of Pennsylvania. I'm a hunter and a fisherman, and I'd like to have my children join me in those recreation activities in the future, not have to see industrial operations in the wilds there. thank you for hearing me, and I hope that you do the right thing.
Governor Corbett, my name is Andrew McGrath, and I own a home outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I am asking you, imploring you, to put a halt to this fracking that we know is dangerous to human health, animal health, to the water supply, to the air. It's incredibly risky, incredibly dangerous, and we're seeing that it's just not worth it. We don't need this extreme fossil fuel energy. What we need is renewable energy that will take us forward into the 21st century. Wind, solar, and geothermal. But we do not need natural gas produced by hydraulic fracturing with all of its toxic attributes and all these chemicals being put into the ground. We do not know how to unpollute an aquifer. We're polluting people's well water. We're creating tap water that will catch on fire. This is ridiculous. Please do the right thing for the citizens of Pennsylvania, for the kids. Think about the children who are being born this year and what they're going to need and want in their environment. An environment that sustains them, that nurtures them, and that has not been created to be toxic by hydraulic fracturing.
Hi, Governor Corbett. My name is Ted Stroder, and I spent over 30 years in industry as a chemical and environmental safety engineer, and I'd like to say a few things on fracking in Pennsylvania. Because of the time I spent in and because of my background as a chemist and my background with chemical engineering, I find that the problems in Pennsylvania are very extreme, and we're not regulating them well enough, and we're not overseeing them well enough. That was one of the things that was the biggest part of my job, was overseeing and auditing sites where the chemicals were being used, and I think the DEP is not doing a good job, and we're really putting the people of Pennsylvania at risk, both from water contamination and especially from the air emissions. Because of my background, I can say that with some certainty. I have visited sites. I've been up in our state forest, and I've seen what used to be very pristine areas that I retired here to enjoy, and now they're like industrial zones. So I plead with you to please put more effort into the DEP and to have more regulators and people out in the field to oversee this industry, which is exempt from many of the regulations that I used to enforce when I was in industry. So it needs a lot of attention in those areas, and so I'm begging you to please give them more help. Thank you very much.
Hello, Governor Corbett. My name is Joe Levine. I'm an architect. I have a practice in New York City and in the Upper Delaware River Basin. I live in the Upper Delaware River Basin in Wayne County. I'm concerned about the proposition of fracking in the basin. It's impacting real estate values. It's impacting second homeowners buying property up there, vacation homes, and even retirement homes. Business that I thought would be in Wayne County in the construction industry have not materialized over the last 5 years. In fact, homeowners from New York City who would usually purchase land up there are now moving into the New York City watershed area, believing that that area might be protected. But right now there's very little work for an architect in Wayne County. There's very little investment. There's fear of hydraulic fracturing, and it's impacting the local economy there. It's has a lot to do with jobs in the construction industry and all associated industries of home building. So please take a look at the issues related to jobs in the Upper Delaware River Basin, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Governor Corbett, for so graciously listening to what all of these people had to say to you today.
Governor Corbett, Pennsylvanians spoke directly to you today in this video. It's a really rare opportunity for people, for residents of Pennsylvania, to have the opportunity to say in their own words, unfiltered and unedited, what's in their minds and in their hearts. You heard what they had to say. We witnessed
that you took it in. We hope that you realize, as you reflect on what people said, that you have tremendous power as Chief Executive of Pennsylvania. Everything you do, every decision you make, every policy you implement affects all of us and those who will live after us. Our homes, our communities, our cities, our farms, our forests, the land, air, water. Every person, every living thing, every creature is directly affected by gas development here in Pennsylvania in one way or another. We hope that you will openly consider protecting us as you ponder this full weight of the harm that's being visited, and move to protect us rather than expose us to this adversity. We ask this for the sake of our environmental and economic stability, our health and our welfare. We ask this for the sake of our economic and energy security for those of us here now and into the future. Thank you, Governor Corbett, for listening.
When we went into our meeting with Governor Corbett, we had no expectations that we were going to be able to change his mind about the issues of shale gas development, fracking, pipelines, and all of the damage that they bring. But we knew we had to give the people of Pennsylvania an opportunity to speak to the governor directly, in their own words, delivering their own messages. And what I can tell you is that every message included in the video montage that you have just seen, Governor Corbett and the members of his staff sat and listened to in its entirety. What the impact may or may not be down the road, I don't know. But what I do know is that all of the people on this montage were heard.